This ain't no fairy tale.
The Get Down is an educational, informative and entertaining look at hip-hop history and the early days that shaped hip-hop into being the multi-billion-dollar industry that it is today.
I got courage.
Let's take a trip back in the time, 1977. It was maximum crime.
Hip-hop grew out of the crumbling ghettos of a then-bankrupt New York, at a time when the American economy was taking a battering due to shock oil prices, at a time also when the disco and funk era was starting to feel stale. Young Black and Latino youth at the time were looking for something fresh, and they found it.
As a DJ, the Get Down is the part of the record that is the most funkiest. So, as a DJ, you try to keep the Get Down continuous, so it sounds like a loop. You play it from one turntable to the next turntable, and the b-boys just get down to that part of the record.
We spoke to British hip-hop royalty about what hip-hop means to them.
Hip-hop is our religion, it's an energy, it's a movement, and it's something that kind of like keeps me going. It's something, to me and to most of us from that era, it's something that we lived and we breathed. To this day we live and we breathe it because it's been a foundation for the careers that we have now.
I think a lot of people forget that we were so young in those days. A lot of people were only 14, 15, 16, and hip-hop culture actually taught us how to live our lives in a good and respectful manner. You know, things like the b-boy battles was like, you don't have to go out and fight someone. You can just have a dance-off, and the winner is the winner, and be cool afterwards. You don't have to be violent towards someone. You know, it taught us how to be respectful to others. It taught us about learning about your culture and about your heritage, where you came from. Those things were really important, and as youngsters, hip-hop culture taught us all those things.
Yeah. So tell us about your earliest memories of hip-hop culture, because obviously it wasn't born here in London.
Well, I'll tell you what it was. After Malcolm McLaren's Buffalo Girls came out, once that video came out, we had more an understanding of what it looked like, what the graffiti looked like, how the people dressed, how they danced, and that's when it really grabbed a hold here.
Two Buffalo gals go around the outside, round the outside, round the outside.
Places like Covent Garden, where Billy used to be, where Debbie used to be, where the real energy for London was. Like, you know, Covent Garden was almost like Switzerland, as in neutral territory.
It was our Mecca, to be honest.
So there was people from every part of London would gather there and celebrate this culture.
Well, I saw it on like Shalimar, and I saw him doing some walk backwards, you know. Let me show you. It's really funny, guy. He's going like this, you know. And I said to myself, well, if this guy could do this, man, I could do it as well, man. And I just went around, and I put on my socks, and I went around on the kitchen floor, you know, backing up and down for hours, until I just finally got it, and then brought it out, and then went up Electric Ballroom and places like that and showed it off, you know?
Obviously, hip-hop culture has, in a lot of ways, been dragged apart. So the culture is not represented in the same way as rap music. You know, rap music is known as hip-hop. But hip-hop is a culture, rap music is just a musical element of that.
I think people are trying to bring the elements back together because they've seen that the fragmentation doesn't allow hip-hop to live the way it's supposed to be, and so they're trying to defragment it and put everything back together as a whole.
I think what happened with hip hop is that as the audience changed, the music changed. So when hip hop was still young and it was mostly young guys from the inner city, mostly black people, Hispanic people listening to the music, the artists were making music geared for that audience, which was much more positive, much more uplifting. As the audience changes and it's more about, you know, young white kids from the suburbs who became the dominant buy-in audience for hip-hop music, suddenly the artists are making music geared towards them, which is less positive, more about, you know, the negative aspects of so-called black culture. Black culture is 360, not just one thing, and that's the problem I have with hip-hop. We see such a narrow view of the black experience, and it is the black experience, although everyone is involved in hip-hop, it still represents a black experience, and it's with the changing of the audience, what the audience wanted changed. Therefore, as it became more corporate, what the corporations were prepared to sell changed. And that for me is a problem because it disrespects the culture.
Aside from rapping and DJing, which are much more prominent globally, other elements of hip-hop culture include breakdancing and graffiti. These elements, according to British graffiti master Artful Dodger and one-time breakdancer John Z.D., think that new school artists have left behind.
The main separation was when rap music, as it became known to a lot of people, started to make money. That's when the real separation of hip-hop came. B-boying got relegated because you can't easily package that. You can have a record, you can basically market the artist, you've got a product, a commodity, a piece of merchandise which can sell. And that's when the big money came into it, that's when the change happened. And one thing I've always said in terms of different aspects of hip-hop is, it's not so much where it's going, but who's going to take it there. And if the younger generation are going to be like the next generation to overtake it and be the overseers of it and the guardians of it, then they have to be informed.
One of the Get Down's producers, hip-hop legend Grandmaster Flash, has said that the younger generation eats from the hip-hop cake, but aren't aware of the ingredients it took to make it. We put this to young hip-hop outfit, The Age of Luna.
It's true that everybody now is eating off the hip-hop cake because hip-hop really did shift the culture of everything it is now. I don't necessarily think that people care entirely, but it's important to research and understand where what you're doing comes from.
So do you think your generation is as fascinated with the four cornerstones of hip-hop as they were back in the day?
I definitely feel like our generation is picking up again, like the nostalgic feel again. We grew up having people around that done graffiti all the time. We used to go around London, a place called Trocadero, where the whole scene downstairs was b-boys dancing. You know, it was purely just hip-hop and dancing, and yeah, now it's really coming back now, and it feels good.
Do you think your generation of young music artists are as influenced by the old school hip-hop era as you guys are?
Well, I mean, like, Kool Herc, he was like the guy who started like this all pretty much, you know. Like his idea especially of just like, okay, you know what, I'm going to take that bridge section from James Brown and just like put on two turntables, one side I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to repeat on the other side, and then just keep on doing that. And then like, and then one day he was like, oh yeah, you know what, let me do, because I'm so influenced from those James Brown records, let me just like do like Get Down or blah, like, you know, those kind of sayings over that, and then make a little rhyme scheme. And then people were like, wait, he's creating something.
Pinpoints the Get Down part. Sometimes the drums only play for like 10 seconds and the rest of the record is violins and singing. So he plays the same record on 2 decks. While the Get Down plays on 1, he cues the same part on 2. Now, I don't know how he knows exactly when to do it, but in the moment 1 finishes, bang, he flips the mixer. Beat goes on and on.
B-boys, B-girls in the place to be. Are you ready for the spot so viciously? Come on!
Do you guys think hip-hop culture is misrepresented and sometimes stereotyped?
Well, the hip-hop culture is very much seen to some people as a negative thing, you know, with negative, negative art form. But I think it's a misconception because rap music has always been a representation of what was going on in life, in society. And there's harsh things that go on in the world, and rap was one of the first music that was talking about these harsh times in the way that they did it as well. But it's important that people need to hear it, especially from someone that they can relate to. I can relate to Biggie, I can relate to Pac, because they came from a place where we can understand of struggle.
The Get Down has faced some controversy. There has been debate about whether director Baz Luhrmann has sufficient hip-hop credentials.
Us watching that, the pilot for the Get Down, it's like my heart melted because I felt it.
I was worried. I saw the trailer and I thought this is going to be like a hip-hop version of Glee. Or the remaking of the Kids from Fame, something like that. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Baz Luhrmann, for me, is an absolute badass director. No one should be telling him any of that. And plus he's done his research as well. Like, from just seeing the trailer, I was just like, oh my God, he's got everyone so on point, especially Grandmaster Flash, the character for him. I was like, what? Like, the acting, everything. The scenery as well, I was like, this is such a beautiful, it's gonna be such a beautiful film series, like, you know?
I know a guy called Willie who's worked on the film with Baz Luhrmann. He lives in the Bronx, and he told me that him and Baz worked really well together, and Baz basically allowed everybody to tell their stories, and he just basically used his technical ability to direct to bring them to life. I saw it. I think it's amazing.
Show me what you got.
Shaolin's a DJ, we call conductor, cause Shaolin fantastic, so bad mother.
Basically, if something needs to spread, germinate, grow, then you've got to appreciate the facilities and the things which are getting out there. As long as it's done with creativity, passion, integrity, as I'm sure this film has been done from what I've heard from those hip-hop heads who are on the scene, then it's all good, and I'm all for it.